So it comes down to this. It comes down to the fact that you have a long winning streak in one season, and all of a sudden you just can't finish it off. I mean, when you look at the 1912 New York Giants baseball team, they won 26 in a row, but did they go to the World Series? Yeah, they did, but they didn't finish it off. They didn't win. They didn't get the title. When you look at long winning streaks, sometimes it's not the best thing. It just makes you a target. Well, for one American League team in 2017, that was the case. As a team who won 23 games in a row in the within the season, actually ended up losing the ALDS in such a shocking way. And let's not forget the fact that this team actually ended up losing the World Series the previous year in a controversial game seven, if you will. And practically that everything happens for a reason. Anyhow, this is the story of the 2017 Cleveland Indians. You've got Jeff Diamond, you've got one man, you've got a hat, a bat, and that's definitely not all. You got the bleachers, got them from spring to fall, you got a dog, a drink, and that umpire's call. What do you want? Let's play what if. Okay. Okay, Cutter, do some what ifs. Okay, Cutter, do some what ifs. So for Cleveland, their major league run comes through with a famous nickname. They were once known as the Cleveland Naps. The only reason why they were known as the Naps was because of one player, Nap LaJoie, who was this big second baseman who was one of the best players in the turn of the 20th century, if you will. And Cleveland snatched him from the Philadelphia Athletics. LaJoie was in such a state, LaJoie, the move to get LaJoie was so big that LaJoie was not allowed to play baseball in the state of Pennsylvania for some time. LaJoie would still be a Philadelphia A's icon and all that. But yeah, he played for Cleveland. He was known as the Nats. The Nats. At one time, Cleveland had baseball teams called the Spires and the Blues and the Forest Blues and Forest City and all that stuff. But anyhow, for many teams, this was huge. But Cleveland was a run-of-the-mill team until a famous Native American player by the name of Louis Sacalesis played for the Indians. Played for Cleveland, and now they were called the Indians. Now I know the name is controversial and all that, and I try my best. I'll try my best not to say the word Indians, but it's hard sometimes. Regardless of that, Cleveland were a decent team. And in 1920, they went to the World Series to face the Brooklyn Dodgers and won the best of 9 series, because that's what it was, best of 5-3. So the Cleveland team, that 1920 World Series was big because one thing, Bill Wamsgauss had an unassisted triple play in that game, in the series. Elmer Smith hit a grand slam. Jim Bagby, the pitcher, actually hit a home run in the World Series game. And of course, let's not forget about the death of Ray Chapman, the famous shortstop for Cleveland. He was beamed in August of 1920 by a Carl Mays pitch when Mays was with the Yankees. It was so bad that Mays thought that the ball hit the bat and threw the first base, but it hit the head. Such force. Ray Chapman, unfortunately, would succumb the next day as the only on-field fatality in Major League Baseball history. However, fans did not hold it against Carl Mays at all, which was good. The bad news was Ray Chapman had died. But the good news is Cleveland used that momentum to fend off the White Sox, who were dealing with their own problems, aka the Black Sox scandal. And the fact is, Ray's replacement, Joe Sewell, became a very good player too. Nevertheless, Cleveland would meander through the 30s until a rapid pitcher by the name of Rapid Robert Feller came in and pitched 3 no-hitters for Cleveland, including one on opening day 1940. So Feller was there, and Cleveland had some very decent teams. In 1948, they had to play the Red Sox in a one-game playoff in Boston at Fenway Park, and they won 8-3 thanks to Danny Galehouse coming out of freaking nowhere with a victory, and Lou Boudreau, the player manager, playing his heart out. Cleveland would take on the Boston Braves in the World Series, beat them, and everyone thought Cleveland was going to be the next great team. Unfortunately, the Yankees then, for 5 straight years, would win the World Series. And then in 1954, lo and behold, Cleveland did an Indian summer, and with 111 wins, that's what they needed to take care of the Yankees and win the AL pennant and the World Series trip against the Giants. Unfortunately, though, Cleveland, for some dumb reason, couldn't do anything against the Giants. Not one thing. They couldn't win one game, even though they had 111. They looked pretty decent. And a team that could stink up the joint and take out the Yankees was worth it. But unfortunately for Cleveland, they just couldn't do it. The Giants used Willie Mace's famous over-the-shoulder catch in the Bowling Grounds in Game 1, plus Dusty Rhodes, not the wrestler, but a baseball player, his 3-run pitch and home run. Cleveland could not recover. Cleveland would suffer through the 60s and 70s with nothing good coming of it. The curse of Rocky Colavito after trading Colavito to Detroit for the one of the AL batting champion of 1959, Harvey Kuhn, who went on to be part of Harvey's wall bangers for the Milwaukee Brewers. In a sense, it was huge. The 1970s for Cleveland were terrible too. The only good thing about the 1970 Cleveland squad was 10-cent beer night in that fiasco in 1974. Cleveland was at the edge of the ropes. 1986, Sports Illustrated said they were going to win the American League East. Not a chance. They were dead last. Cleveland couldn't get out of their mess. Yes, Len Barker threw a perfect game in 1981 against the Blue Jays, but Cleveland as a whole was just not good. Practically, Major League made fun of the film made fun of Cleveland's ineptness, and Cleveland went on to win the AL East in that movie. I remember watching it quite a lot, and Bob Uecker, who recently has passed away, was in that and said just a bit outside. Wild Thing, Ricky Vaughn, played by Charlie Sheen. Yeah, but Cleveland would bounce back. Even though in 1993 there was a massive boat crash that killed Tim Cruz and Steve Olin, two decent relief pitchers for Cleveland, and injured Bobby Ojeda, Cleveland somehow came back through. In 94, they opened up Jacobs Field after getting rid of Cleveland Municipal Stadium once and for all. And lo and behold, Cleveland were chasing the White Sox for the AL Central when that stupid strike ruined everything. Yeah, it ruined Cleveland. But Cleveland would not be hindered by the strike, as in 1995, in the 144-game season that they pitched forward, Cleveland won 100 games. 100 out of 144. Albert Bell, 50 home runs, 50 doubles, was great. The pitching was great. Even old guys like Earl Hershiser and Dennis Martinez could get it done. Cleveland looked good, and they got to the World Series for the first time in 41 years after taking care of Seattle in the ALCS. They took care of things, but the Braves took care of them in 5, and the team of the 90s finally won the title, as Bob Costas put it. Regardless of that, Cleveland thought they were good. 96, off year. 97, they went back to the World Series. But unfortunately, though, those pesky Florida Marlins just had to win in 7 games on home turf. And Tony Fernandez just had to have that ground ball eat him up in Game 7 in the 11th inning, because that was the massive difference. Cleveland was looking forward to winning a World Series in 2016. They looked good. They took care of the Toronto Blue Jays in the finals, in the ALCS, to my chagrin, of course. You know, it's me. But Cleveland would take on the Cubs, two long-suffering franchises who at that time were number 1 and number 2 for length of between World Series titles. Someone had to win it. And anyway, Cleveland was up 3-1, and it looked good for Cleveland, but somehow, someway, the Cubs won 3 straight games, including Game 6 and 7 in Cleveland, and they had one of the best Game 7s of all time in the World Series. Punctuated by rain delay, Rajai Davis coming off the bench with a 2-run home run in the 8th inning to tie the game. It was just amazing. What could happen? So, of course, that's what happened. So we're going to talk about the 2017 Cleveland squad. Of course, everyone knows they're the Guardians now, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers Assemble. Wrong movie, but you get the point. So let's talk about the 2017 Cleveland squad. So the 2017 Cleveland Indians was the 117th season for the franchise. Terry Francona was in his fifth season as manager. They were the defending AL champion and World Series runner-up. They were at Progressive Field. That's what Jacobs Field was known as. And they won 22 games from August 24th to September 15th, the longest winning streak in American League history and the second longest in Major League history, surpassing the 2002 A's with their Moneyball thing and tying the 1935 Chicago Cubs for the modern run. But 4 games short of the 26th by the 1916 Giants. I said the 1912 Giants, which was a big boo boo. It's the 1916 Giants. Nevertheless, I can't change that. So anyway, Cleveland won 102 games, the most since 1954, and the best team in the American League. It looked like they were going to definitely win the American League, and Cleveland's streak was huge. Cleveland would make a couple massive moves. They re-signed Jose Ramirez to a 5-year deal, the great third baseman, and then they just had to sign Edwin Encarnacion, who was a former Blue Jay and a Blue Jay icon, just like Jose Batista, to a 3-year, $80 million deal, pissing me off in no short order. I mean, Cleveland, really? Really? Them? So anyway, the starting lineup saw Carlos Santana, Francisco Lindor, Michael Brantley, Edwin Encarnacion, Jose Ramirez, Yan Gomes, Tyler Naquin, Yandy Diaz, and Abraham Almonte. I was going to say he's Canadian, but that can't be right. No, he's Dominican. I was thinking he's Canadian. And Corey Kluber, starting pitcher. So in April, they had a good streak and all that. They were 14-10. And then May, they were inconsistent. The 1 game below 500. Corey Kluber had got hurt. Cleveland went 3 games above 500. In June, Corey Kluber was named the pitcher of the month. They got Kluber, Brantley, Lindor, Andrew Miller, the relief pitcher, and Jose Ramirez named to the American League team for the All-Star game in Miami. So anyway, they did what they could and all of that. Cleveland were 5 games above 500. So anyway, Corey Kluber would be big. Cleveland were 19-9 in August, including 8 straight wins to end the month. Little did people know that September would be big. Jose Ramirez in 1 game in September 3rd took 5 extra base hits, 3 doubles, and 2 home runs in 1 game. Corey Kluber looked pretty good. After beating the Tigers September 12th, they got their 20th consecutive win, which tied the American League record. But on the 13th, they broke it with their 21st straight win. They beat the Royals the next day, but then it was snapped September 15th. Kluber was named American League Player of the Week. And Cleveland got to 100 wins. So only the third time it happened, 1954 and 1995, which was supposed to be a sign because both those years Cleveland went to the World Series, even though they lost them. The Indians won 102 games, their second highest in franchise history, trailing on the 1954 squad. They had the best ERA and the best pitching strikeouts. Cleveland crushed it. 17 games over Minnesota. They were the top team narrowly over Houston for the American League. The Yankees would face the Twins in a 1 game wildcard match, which the Yankees won. Cleveland suffered against Boston, as Boston and Oakland would actually give them losing records. They were 4-2 against the Blue Jays. Pitching Cody Allen, great bullpen guy. Trevor Bauer, decent starter who had some problems and has been in Japan for a while. Carlos Cookie Carrasco, Mike Clevenger, Corey Kluber, good guy. Andrew Miller, great reliever. Brian Shaw, Alonzo Joe Smith in the bullpen. Yan Gomes and Roberto Perez catching. Yandy Diaz, Edwin Encarnacion, Jason Kipnis, Francisco Lindor, Jose Ramirez, and Carlos Santana in the infield. The outfield saw Michael Brantley, Jay Bruce, Lonnie Chisenhole, Tyler Naquin, among others. It looks pretty good. But yeah, they had that winning streak. And then, of course, they had the postseason, which they really shit the bed. So, yeah, 38 home run, 38 home runs by Edwin, 33 by Lindor. Jose Ramirez almost got 30. He got 29. Pitching wise, Bauer with 17 wins, Carrasco with 18, Clevenger with 12, Kluber with 18. But the postseason was a different thing and all that. As we go backwards, there's the divisional series. They won 4-0. Bauer beat Sonny Gray. And then in game two was the crazy one in which the Indians, what was it, 8-2 or something? Yeah, they were down like 8-2, and then Lindor comes up to the plate. No, 8-3, and then Lindor comes up to the plate in the seventh and hits the grand slam. I can remember Matt Vasgersian's call on MLB Network. Line drive, right field, deep, it's out of here, Santa Maria, a walk-off. And then Cleveland scored two in the 13th to win the game 9-8. And Cleveland would be up 2-0. So all they needed to do was win one game. They got taken out 1-0 on a pitcher's duel between Masahiro Tanaka and the bullpen. So anyway, Chapman got the save against former team against the Cubs. And then they lost 7-3 thanks to Severino. So they needed to go back to Cleveland for game five. And it looked pretty good. Unfortunately, though, Sir Didi Gregious ruined it for them. So let's take a look at the stuff. 2017 ALDS. Yeah, Didi Gregorius hit 2 home runs, which was shocking. And then the Yankees would go on to the ALCS and lose to the Astros. But still, yeah, Sir Didi Gregorius and all that. So, yeah, he's in Curacao. Yeah, because it says right here at the 2011 Baseball World Cup, after Holland beat Cuba in the final match, Gregorius and his teammates were knighted under the Order of Orange Nassau Fifth Class. Since then, Gregorius' official title is Sir, which is incorporated into his Twitter handle. So he's known as Sir Didi Gregorius. I put that in my YouTube post about Didi Gregorius being my Sir Didi Gregorius. See, I told you. I don't lie. Anyway, let's look at the redoing the 2007 ALCS if Cleveland had made it in 2016. What am I talking about? So here we go. We got Cleveland would face Houston. Actually, it should be the other way around. Yeah, my fault. It's the other way around. Because Cleveland had the more wins. So yeah, I screwed that up. Carlos Carrasco will get game one start. Kluber, I think, pitched game five. So yeah, so Carrasco would start game five. Dallas Keuchel starts game one of the ALCS, just like in real life. So game one. So of course, this is the ALCS where Cleveland was supposed to play Houston. Game one in Cleveland sees the Astros win 4-3. Jose Ramirez gets a single to score Austin Jackson in the first. And then Chisenhall singles to score Brantley, making it 2-0. But then the Astros get a big jump. Gurriel hits a triple to score Marwin Gonzalez, and then Gaddis doubles to score Gurriel, making Andrew Miller come in the game and Cleveland's infallible bullpen. However, Yuri Gurriel again does it in the eighth inning for double score Josh Reddick. In the bottom of the eighth, Young Gomes single scored Edwin. Gregerson came in to get Kipnis, and then in the ninth, Springer walks, Altuve doubles, and Springer scores. Correa lines out, Marwin strikes out. Reddick is given a walk. Goody pitches to Gurriel, and he grounds out. Ken Giles comes in for the save and gets Brantley, Austin Jackson, and Jose Ramirez out. Carrasco 5 in the third, then Andrew Miller 2 in the third. Brian Shaw is the GOAT. And not a good way. 1 inning, good inning. Keuchel 6 innings. Stefanski 1 2/3. Gregerson with the win, and Giles with the save. Now, the problem is here, game two was supposed to be Verlander, but I know they got him in a trade deadline, and this is from the start of the season, so pretend that's Verlander. Carlos Carrasco, Kluber would pitch game two. He says, I'm fine for game two. And in the end, it was Cleveland winning in extra innings 11-10, so it's 1-1. However, Houston scored 3 goals quickly. Bregman hits a home run to left. Marwin Gonzalez hits a 2-run tater tot to make it 3-0. But in the bottom of the first, Lindor gets a double to score Jackson and Chisenhall. But then in the top of the second, Beltran gets a sac fly and Bregman hits a home run deep left field line 5-2. In the bottom of the third, Jackson strikes out. Ramirez walks and steals second. Then Chisenhall hits a double to score Ramirez. Then Lindor hits the drive to center field. It makes it 5-5. After a while, Kipnis hits a double with runners on second and third to score Santana and Gomes to make it 7-5. Josh Reddick and Yuri Gurriel would go back to back with tater tots 7-7. Correa would go deep 8-7 to make Zach McAllister come into the game. Then Gaddis hits a run to make it 9-7, making Miller come in the game. After Shaw pitches in the seventh, Reddick singles to score Altuve 10-7. Kipnis walks, Brantley singles, Jackson hits the fielder's choice, and then Jose Ramirez hits a home run to right to tie the game, putting Defensky in. Houston runs runners on first and third, but Marwin strikes out. Reddick strikes out. Gurriel strikes out. Cleveland can't do anything about it. Salazar comes in for Cleveland in the 10th and gets 3 quick outs. Gregerson comes in the bottom of the 10th. Bradley singles. Jackson singles. First and third, and then Ramirez singles. So Cleveland wins 11-10. They used Kluber, McAllister, Miller, Shaw, Goody, and Salazar. Cleveland did. Houston used Fires for 3 innings and Colin McHugh for 4 and third. Defensky, and then Gregerson is your GOAT. So 1-1 on the way to Houston. Where Charlie Morton pitched game 3 in real life. And it would be Trevor Bauer pitching game 3 for Cleveland in Houston. And in the end, it would be the Stros winning 9-2. The Stros using home field. George Springer went deep twice to left, 2-run home run to left, making the locomotive jump, and so did Altuve. Josh Reddick doubles to make it 4-0. Santana hits a home run down the right field line in the top of the fifth for Cleveland. Houston gets Gurriel singles to score Correa and McAllister coming in 5-1. Ramirez singles to score Jackson. Beltran hits one in the bottom of the sixth to make it 6-2, forcing Andrew Miller to come in to pitch. And in the bottom of the eighth, after Shaw pitch comes in the game, Gaddis singles, Beltran hits a 2-run home run, and then Altuve singles to score Bregman, making it 9-2, and Cleveland sucks. Morton wins 7 innings, Defensky 2, Bauer 4 2/3, McAllister for an inning. For 1 out. Andrew Miller for 2, and Brian Shaw for 1. So it's 2-1 for Houston. Lance McCullers versus Mike Clevenger for game 4. And it will be Houston with the 15-3 win. So Houston crushes Cleveland into fine powder. And now Cleveland's in deep trouble. They're down 3-1. They were up 3-0 though. Lindor singles to score Chisenhall. Encarnacion doubles to score Lindor. And Gomes doubles to score Edwin. 3-0. Then in the bottom of the third, Springer singles to score Gaddis. Altuve hits a double down the left field line, scoring everyone. Beltran, Bregman, Springer. After a while, Reddick would single Altuve around. Gaddis would hit a 3-run inside the park home run to make it 8-3, and Altero came in to pitch. Correa gets a bases loaded walk, and then Marwin Gonzalez off of Salazar hits a grand slam to right center, 13-3. Game practically over, but Marwin also hits a 2-run home run to make it 15-3. Marwin gets 6 RBIs. McCullers goes 7. Verlander 2 innings in relief. Clevenger 2 2/3 can't do much. Otero did well for an inning and third, but then the wheels fell off. McAllister for an inning, Salazar for 2, Goody for 1. 3-1. He needed it. Keuchel versus Carrasco. And in the end, Cleveland wins 7-2 to force a game 6. Jose Ramirez single score Kipnis. Springer hits a 2-run home run to left field that clears the wall to make it 2-1. Chisenhall hits a 3-run home run to center field, getting Brantley and Jackson home. So Chisenhall doing his job. Gregerson in the ninth comes in. Gomes flies out. Kipnis grounds out, so it looks like it's good news. Brantley singles, steals second, and then Jackson hits a single score. Brantley. Jose Ramirez makes it 7-2. And all that. So Dallas Keuchel 6 innings. Defensky 2, Gregerson 1. He failed. Carrasco 1, Miller at the same. Corey Kluber pitches game 6 against Fires. Game 6 sees something happen, magical happen, but not for Cleveland. As Houston wins game 6, they would go on to the World Series anyway. Springer home run. In the first, second, Gaddis scores Reddick. Ramirez bases loaded walk. Score Kipnis. Jose Ramirez. Yuri Gurriel singles to right to score Correa and Marwin. Gaddis scores Reddick 5-1. Santana double scored Lindor. Kipnis single score Edwin and makes it 5-3. Lindor goes deep to make it 5-4. Carlos Correa makes a terrible move in the bottom of the 5th after McHugh comes in. Altuve hits a homer to left center to make it 6-5. And then Edwin in the bottom of the 8th after Chisholm and Lindor get on. Edwin looked like he hit the homer in the left field to send Cleveland to a game 7. Davinsky came in the pitch, and then Allen pitches. Beltran walks. Bregman lines out the first. Springer goes deep to right center, and it's a new game. Altuve singles, Correa double play. Cleveland goes down quickly. Shaw comes in the 10th, gets 3 quick outs. Gregerson comes in, gets 3 outs. And in the 11th, Gaddis singles. Beltran flies out to right. Bregman hits a fielder's choice, and then Springer comes back in and hits another home run to right center field. We get 10-8. Ken Giles comes in for the save. Edwin walks. Santana fouls out the third. Gomes and Kipnis are out. So George Springer goes deep not once, but 3 times. Kluber 6 and 2/3. Miller inning a third. Allen blew the save, if you will. Shaw comes in for inning 2/3, loses a good inning third. So yeah, George Springer goes deep 3 times off Cleveland and wins it in game 6. Fires McHugh. Well, McHugh ate up a Davinsky, Gregerson, and Giles. So anyway, Houston takes care of Cleveland, and Cleveland did not rock that night. There's their 22 game winning streak, all for naught. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.